Let's imagine a Greyhound bus draws up outside Garden Court. And we all file right out that door and down and get into it. And off we go, down University Avenue onto Highway 94 and on. And after a little while, somebody says, "Where are we going?" And somebody else says, "Does anybody feel hungry? There's food back here." So we all break out the food and we have a really good lunch. And then somebody says, "Why are we on this bus?" But somebody else says, "Let's sing some songs and let's play some games." So we sing some songs and we play some games. Now, the situation is strange enough for an afternoon. But think of the neurosis that sets in after 3 days. And then think of the situation after we've been in that bus for 20 years. And some of us are beginning to wonder now, okay, at the beginning, maybe it didn't matter where we were going. We were all having such a good time. But now we're not all having such a good time. Some of us have got sick, and some of us are enemies of each other, and some of us are trying to protect ourselves in one corner against some others in another corner, and some of us have too much food, and some of us haven't enough food, and some of us have died and have been thrown off the bus. Now, surely it's time to find out where we're going. And of course, exactly how it would happen, I'm not sure, but as children are born to us, they begin to ask the questions that we used to ask when we first got on the bus. And they say, "Why are we on this bus? Where are we going in this bus?" And the parents just tell them, "Keep on laughing. Just keep on cleaning those windows." And bit by bit, we begin to realize that actually every one of us is trying to pretend that it doesn't matter where we're going as long as we keep ourselves occupied doing things in the bus. And of course, some of us find the situation so absolutely maddening that we feel we have to get out of such a meaningless position somehow or other. And there is, of course, only one way off, and that is the way those who died found. They were thrown off the bus. And so one of us, unthinkable though it is, writes a book on how to commit suicide. And of course, we all think that could never happen. Except that those of us who know the story of the publishing of that book know it has already happened. Of course, what drove us to look for a book like that was the meaninglessness of the other writers on the bus who wrote books purporting to explain why we were there. And their books were so dumb. How to win by intimidation. How to be happy though married. How to make a fortune in real estate or in bus seats. And we just felt, this is dumb. All you're doing is telling us how to occupy ourselves while we're on this bus, but it doesn't tell us why we're on it or where we're going. It just tells us how to spend our time while we're here. And more, of course, we all began to feel the meaninglessness of the whole situation. And it's interesting, you know, and you've probably already done it. All you have to do is to transpose the scene from a Greyhound bus to a sphere spinning through the space of the universe at hundreds of miles an hour. And you've got the predicament of the human race.
Round and round and round we spin to weave a wall to hem us in. It won't be long. It won't be long.
Now let's imagine that a person suddenly appears on the bus, not through the normal birth experience that the other children had, but he appears miraculously on the bus, and he says, the bus belongs to my father, he's the owner. And then he takes some of us aside, and he explains to us why we're on the bus, and where we're going, and why we do exist. You can imagine how invaluable would be the books written by the few of us that listen to that kind of information. And so it is, loved ones. So it is here on this Greyhound bus. We realize the terrible truth that none of us on the bus can actually explain where the bus is going. Precisely because we're on it ourselves. We can't be outside it and look at it and see where it's going. And we can't explain who owns it or who keeps it going because we're on the bus. And that is the prison in which we find ourselves. And so the books that any of us write are limited to telling us how to spend our time while we're on it. But they cannot tell us where it's going or why we're here. The only books that can are the books written by the friends of this unique man that boarded the bus some years ago. Now, where are those books? Where is that explanation?
Man made the buildings that reach for the sky, and man made the motor car and learned how to drive. But he didn't make the flowers and he didn't make the trees. And he didn't make you, and he didn't make me. And he's got no right to turn us into machines. No, he's got no right at all, 'cause we are all God's children, and they got no right to change us. Oh, we gotta go back the way the good Lord made us all. I don't want this world to change me. I wanna go back the way the good Lord made me. Same lungs that he gave me to breathe with, same eyes he gave